Hey, what's up guys, Tony here, and what you're watching right now is a test of the TrackIR system, the TrackIR 5 that I picked up recently, and actually showed up in the mail today, and it showed up about 2 o'clock, and I was kind of busy this afternoon, and I didn't get a chance to play with it and plug it in and set it up, because to be honest, I really wanted to race with it tonight, but I'm actually glad I didn't, to be honest with you. But anyway, so what I wanted to do is I wanted to show you this video, and I wanted to go ahead and put something together just so if there's somebody out there who has been looking at TrackIR and has been sort of sitting here going, well, I don't know if I should get it or not, I can give you my opinion on it, and you can take it or leave it, I guess, but you can, you know, see what I have to say about it, and just another voice in the entire interwebs to talk about TrackIR with iRacing, because I've heard conflicting things. Some people love it, some people hate it. Some people prefer to use TrackIR for like flight sims, or what's the other one? I guess this is flight sims and driving, and I think combat. That's what it's listed as, combat. So I know some people like Tim. He says he prefers to use it for like Euro Truck and for DayZ. My buddy Jamie, he uses it for Euro Truck, and I think he uses it for iRacing if I remember correctly. Actually, yeah, it was, because he posted a video recently, and I was like, oh my god, this makes me want to have TrackIR again. And so after watching that, I just was like, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna pull the trigger. I still have a little leftover spare Christmas money, and so I was like, you know what? You know, I know I splurged on this really nice monitor, but instead of spending like $400 to $600 on my peripheral monitors, I decided, you know, I'm going to do TrackIR, because I really wanted to do TrackIR with my triple monitor setup. I just didn't really have the extra money laying around. So I still had it. I still had some, you know, for the money that I had saved up for Christmas, it was just still lying around. It was definitely burning a hole in my pocket, and I went ahead and put that fire out. So what I wanted to say first about it is that setting it up wasn't exactly as easy as I thought. It didn't really make it easy for you. And so what I had to do is I actually went to YouTube, and I just Googled, or well, not really Google search since it's YouTube, but I searched in YouTube setting up TrackIR with iRacing, and I came to this guy's channel. I've watched one of his videos before, and I'll put a link in the description to his channel if you're interested in watching basically his setup. He goes through in his 3 steps, as he calls it, his 3 steps of setting up TrackIR, because he said a lot of people will get TrackIR and they get frustrated with it because they can't get it to work properly, and that was actually my initial reaction. I was just like, fuck, I can't get this thing to work properly. And so he goes through his steps to set it up, and I followed his steps, and it works great. And the only thing I did, the adjustments I made, is that he has it set to 0.1 for speed and 0 for smoothness. And I agree with him on the smoothness. There's a, you know, I might actually bump it up a little bit, because the slider goes from 0 to 50. So I might bump it up to like a 10 or maybe like a 5 or something like that, because there's a little bit of jittering in there. You know, your head's moving, and the force feedback shakes your hand, and that moves your head, and that gives you a really interesting feeling of realism, I guess. But at the same time, it's jarring for your eyes. You know, I'm definitely gonna have to get used to it. But the speed, I felt that 0.1 was a little too slow, and I tried out 0.3, and that was a little too fast, so I went, you know, sort of the Goldilocks zone at 0.2, and that's what you're watching. This is so the speed of 0.2, and the smoothness factor is 0, and that's kind of where I like it so far. There's going to be some, definitely there is going to be some adjustments in the future, but for right now, it's a good way to get used to it. So I guess the big question is, how do I feel about TrackIR, and how does it affect my driving? Well, the first things first, I guess, is to say that I went into this practice session with the idea that I'm just going to do everything that I normally do, and I'll just let my head do whatever it normally does. And so I actually found the TrackIR to be quite intuitive, and I felt it to be quite natural to what I do anyways. And so what it allowed me to do was to stare at these corners, or look into these corners I was turning into, and it helped me to better center my car for the corner. and so I felt it was particularly natural. Now the thing is I've heard a lot of people say that head movement and head position are a big deal because, you know, obviously it's TrackIR, it's following your head position, so your head is the camera and you're moving the camera around based upon your head position. Now, so for me, I've played baseball all my life. You know, I played 20 some odd years of baseball, and so head position is one of those things that you work on for hitting, because you can't be successful hitting a baseball if you've got a wobbly head. So for me, having a still head is not an issue, but I think maybe for somebody else who hasn't spent a lot of time in athletics or just practicing that, might have a hard time with their head swaying or doing other things that they don't want to do. And so I think that might inhibit, or just I guess inhibit their experience. It might just, you know, give you a bad experience because you feel that the camera's too jittery. So from my own personal experience, I don't see it as a problem. My head position is not a problem. Being able to look into a corner, and I use my eyes a lot more than I actually knew, because I just kind of figured that I turned my head and looked. Well, I'm finding now with the TrackIR how much I actually use my eyes to look, and then being able to actually turn the camera now is a big plus. There are some things about it, like it feels like a workout for your eyes. Like my eyes kind of I just feel like I had a workout. My eyes are like a little, I don't want to say tired, but they definitely feel as if they got rattled, because there's a lot of jarring with it, and it's just not comfortable yet. And there's really no other way to put it. It's just not comfortable right now, and so I kind of found myself rubbing my eyes after I got done with the practice session. I ran probably about, I think, like 15 or 20 laps or something like that. It was, like I said, it was jarring. It's something that you have to get used to. I didn't get sick or motion sick or anything like that. When it was like high, when the speed was really high and the smoothness wasn't set up properly, it was really kind of jarring. I was just like, oh my god, I can't get used to this. This is just not. If it's too high, then it's like throws you way off. But with the settings that I have so far, I think it's pretty solid, and it's not causing any sort of like harm to me so far. I would just say beyond the tired eyes kind of a thing. It's not even tired eyes. It's just like I said, it's like a workout. It just kind of feels like my eyes got worked a little bit, trying to focus and stuff like that. Now, speaking about focusing, what I found that was really interesting is that normally when I'm playing or when I'm racing, I hate to say playing because I know some of the sim purists out there are like, this is not a game, this is a simulation. So while I was on track and while I was racing, usually what happens is I'm just kind of like, you know, you get into your groove and you're just sort of doing your thing. But with TrackIR, when I'm moving my head, I found myself to be way more immersed in the experience than I was expecting. And I can only sort of guess that's kind of what it's like to drive with the Oculus Rift. Obviously, I'm not getting that full immersion with the goggles and everything, but I found myself like staring at the corners, and I felt as if I had sort of tunnel vision, and my eyes naturally pulled focus away from everything, since everything's in focus because it's a video game. But my depth of field got really shallow, and I think maybe that's why my eyes are a little strained or just a little tired, just because it's as if I was forcing a depth of field that didn't really exist. It's really hard to explain, and I'm pretty sure if there's someone who's watching this video has tried TrackIR, I think maybe they'll have an understanding of what I'm talking about. But I'm not really articulating what it is that I was feeling and just how my eyes were working. But I was really zeroing in on these corners, and it felt good. It really did. But like I said, it's one of those things that was a little jarring at the same time. So I'm going to have to work myself up to using this in a race. So I'm going to have to practice with it more before I go in. Especially for this week, we've got an hour race on our hands. So I don't know if I could deal with TrackIR for an hour, because I felt, that I started to lose concentration the more laps I put in. So I might have to build up to this, sort of like build up a tolerance to the TrackIR. Okay, so there are a couple cons about the TrackIR, and I'm going to talk about those right now. The first one is the clip. So I got mine with the Pro clip. It's like an extra $35 or something like that, and I don't like it at all. I think it's pretty fucking terrible, to be honest with you. So it just doesn't seem to work well. So what I did is I used the hat clip, because that's what the guy suggested in the video. He said that it's terrible, and it's kind of funny because like I found it to be kind of terrible too, and I hadn't tried out the hat clip yet, but he's like, yeah, use the hat clip because it's way better. And I did, and oh my god, it is way more precise with the hat clip than the pro clip. The pro clip is just god awful terrible. It doesn't work great. It doesn't read clean, and it just doesn't give you the right head position. It's just really bad. So if you're contemplating get TrackIR, don't get the pro clip. Just use the hat clip. And that's something else I had to get used to. I don't normally wear a hat when I race, but you know, I have a comfortable Chargers hat that I have, and so I just put it on that, and off I went, and it's one of those hats that it's loose, and it's one of those stretchy ones, so you know, it's not constricting, and you don't really feel it on your head. But I would definitely say save the $35. Don't get the pro clip. It's just, I don't know. It's something else you got to plug in. It's got a USB, so you have to plug it in. It, you know, takes another USB slot. So this little clip here works just fine. The other thing is the functionality of the program itself. What I don't like is that if you don't have everything set up just how you want it when you enter the sim, then you're screwed, because you'll have to back out of the sim, make the adjustments to your settings. Now here's also the thing. It goes into your the menu tray or whatever, the system tray or whatever. So once it minimizes itself, I can't figure out a way to maximize itself again, so I can make those changes. So I found myself having to go to the task manager, ending the process, restarting TrackIR, making the little adjustments I want, go back into iRacing, and then test it out and see like, okay, am I happy with this? So it's not very efficient, and you just kind of have to know that going in. And so I think and then here's the thing, is when you set up your profile, for whatever fucking reason, it doesn't save it as it should. So like I'd have my profile set up at +2 speed and 0% in the smoothness factor. And then if I close it and I reopen it, and it's still got iRacing listed as my profile set up, and it's got everything else set up the way I want it to, it would be like +2 and 10 or whatever in the smooth factor, and it would be really slow, and I have to make some adjustments real quick to like kickstart it, and then it would be like, okay, cool, now it's working properly again. Now I can go back and get into the sim and race. So it's really kind of finicky, and I think maybe the more I play with it, the more that I'll get used to it, and I'll be able to figure out what it is that I'm doing. Maybe I'm doing something wrong, I don't know. But that was the only other thing that I disliked, is that it minimized, and I had no way to get back to it to make those changes on the fly. And you can't make those changes on the fly in the sim, so you have to back out of the sim and then reinitialize the sim for TrackIR to work again. So that's been my experience so far. If you know better, let me know in the comment section below, because I sure as hell would like to know, because it's really a frustrating process, to be honest. That's pretty much it. That's pretty much all I can think of off the top of my head right now. And I definitely didn't intend to make this long of a video. I was shooting for about 7-8 minutes, but here we are, a little longer than that. And so you know, if I were to wrap this up in a nutshell, I do think that TrackIR is worth it. I am finding that it is giving me a level of, I guess, like a fine tuning. Because when I had my triple monitors, there was always a moment where I wish that I could look just like 1 or 2 degrees to left or to the right to help myself see my way into a corner. Even though you can see your apexes with the triple monitors, but just being able to have that fine adjustment. And I think that's what TrackIR will give to not only a single monitor setup, but also to a triple monitor setup. It will definitely benefit both setups. And 5, I guess if you have freaking 5, then it'll do that too. But for me, this is what it's doing. It's giving me a little bit more of a finer control to my car, and it's allowing me to see the corners and see my corner entries a lot more clearly than I can with the static monitor. And like I said, it's got its downsides. You have to get used to the shake. You have to get kind of used to this new experience of the head movement. If you don't have really a problem with a head position, you know, I think you'll be fine. But if you seem to have a problem with head position, you're constantly moving your head around, I think TrackIR might not be for you. You might be just better off with the static monitor or triple monitor setup. So if it's something you're looking into, like I said, you can always give it a shot. They have like a 30-day return policy. They say it on their website, and when you order, they give you instructions on how to return. I'm gonna get a hold of them. Maybe I could return the Pro Clip because it came all together and it's this one package. I'm just like, yeah, there's no way in hell I'm gonna use the Pro Clip. So, like I said, if you want to save like 35 bucks, just get it without the Pro Clip. You know, you'll be happy. So, anyways, that's kind of been my first impressions of the TrackIR with iRacing, and I'm interested to hear from you guys in the comment section, just to kind of see like what has been your experience, and or maybe if you've been looking at picking it up as well. So, as always, thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and I shall talk to you guys later.